This is the Notorious 1-7, the last break white, and you are listening In Your Head online.com.
All right, we have returned here to In Your Head, and now we're joined by Ricky Reyes. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Not too bad, not too bad. Now, you're a busy man. You got a lot of shows coming up. We're going to talk about them. But we want to talk about right now, Urban Wrestling Federation, urbanwrestlingfederation.com. Links are on the website. And their first pay-per-view is coming out on DVD, and they got shows coming up. And a lot of people are talking about it. Just want to get your impression of how urban wrestling is different from other promotions you wrestle for.
There's a ton of different things about urban wrestling. We're trying to mix more of like hip hop and rappers, put them into the mix with the wrestlers, more like, I guess what would be like managers for the wrestlers, because they come out and they're more of the voice. They're kind of using the wrestlers as like their weapons, I guess, in a war. Mm-hmm. It's just a unique, different, take on wrestling. From a fan's perspective, it gives them a little bit more entertainment, to the pro wrestling, instead of just guys just coming out there and just hating each other and going into a match. It's more built up around like the heat between, the gangs and the crews and stuff, with the rappers being involved and then the wrestlers getting involved, and then having the matches and stuff. And it's a little more extreme style wrestling where there's like a little bit more aggressive. It's not necessarily for everybody. It's like you wouldn't be like a younger person, I guess, like a kid wouldn't get into it as much, but it's more for like teens to adults, I guess. It's a little more intense, hot chicks everywhere, guys beating the hell out of each other every which way they can. So it's pretty unique. It's a new twist on pro wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Do you like that kind of stuff? The more hardcore stuff, the gritty stuff?
It really doesn't matter to me. I mean, like when I go and I wrestle, I'm aggressive and I'm an aggressive wrestler. So I fit really good into the mold there. My style is hard hitting. Some would say it's a little more intense and straight to the point. So it's a lot of fun. Not having to worry about, kind of staying within so many boundaries, it gives you more to play with and, lets you be a little bit more creative in every which way. You can get on the floor and do some stuff. And the fans really enjoyed it on the first event because, we got up close and personal and the wrestlers kind of get to go out there and, use the entire arena really, as their platform, So it was, like, I enjoy it. I enjoy all wrestling,
Mm-hmm. And let's let everybody know, September 25th is the next pay-per-view, Hood Justice. It's Sunday, September 5th. And who are you going to be wrestling on that one?
I'll be wrestling Slick Wagner Brown in the title tournament.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people I know you have history with that wrestle for Urban Wrestling. I know Homicide's on there. We had on a few months ago. And just what's your relationship like with Homicide? What do you think of Homicide?
He's a nice guy. We go way back. Back to our Rottweiler days and Ring of Honor. And we've become pretty good friends over the years. Traveling together and wrestling similar events. Like we were in Europe tag teaming together. And ROH we teamed together. We've wrestled a lot all over the place. So. He's a good guy. He's out to get his, and everybody is. So it's a good relationship. We have a good relationship between him and I.
Mm-hmm. Now you said a lot of the hip hop guys, they bring a lot of the women to the show. Do you like all the women around there?
Yeah, as long as they stay out of the way. They're a nice fifth ring post to look at. Right. I think the fans enjoy it. It's again, it's something that you wouldn't want to bring your 6-year-old son or daughter to, but it's more for the big boys. I mean, UFC has Ariane, who's like the hottest woman on the face of the earth, parading around. It's what you want to see. You want to see badass dudes in there getting it on, beating the hell out of each other, and always nice to see some hot chicks here and there, and good music. You can't go wrong.
There's a philosophy I can stand by.
Now, our last guest was saying that they think women's wrestling should be respected, and shouldn't just be there for eye candy. What are your thoughts on women's wrestling?
You know what? I'm not a big fan of divas, I'm going to say. Mm-hmm. Now, women wrestlers, that's a different story. When you're talking about a Sarah Del Rey, a Daisy Hayes, Mercedes Martinez, those type of girls that go out there and bang and wrestle because they're wrestlers, as far
bang
as
in the ring,
yeah.
Sure.
Well, yeah, that's what I meant.
Mm-hmm.
And but that's different, and I mean that's the same thing in both ends of it. It's similar for guys too. When you got some big jacked up, gas house, this big gorilla thinks he's gonna be a pro wrestler because he's got muscles everywhere. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with girls. They don't like it when some blonde bimbo comes bouncing in and says, yeah, I'm going to be a diva because I have boobs and, I'm real giggly, So, I mean, my take on it is, look, once you step through those ropes, you're a wrestler. Male or female, both, whatever, it doesn't matter, So, if you're going to get in there and you're going to perform, you're going to compete, whatever it is, however you look at it, you got to earn your respect. I look at pro wrestling maybe like, I guess, how the older generation did. You got to earn your respect. You don't just walk in there and think that, your shit don't stink. So, because you look a certain way or you're somebody's buddy or son or daughter, or whatever the case may be, you don't earn respect that way. You get in there, go up and down the road, you take your bumps and bruises and you earn it. You make people respect you. So, I mean, if you're a hot chick and you're doing everything the right way, then you'll earn the respect. If you're a hot chick and you're just expecting to fall into, a job or, a position where, you think you're better than somebody else, well then, you'll find your shit laying outside, dumped in the middle of the street someday. So.
Mm-hmm. Now, actually, since you brought up respect, I want to get your perspective on this because it's been something a lot of people talk about online lately. Is a handshaking, and there was a tag team that they got in trouble, I guess, at TNA for not shaking hands, and now again in WWE. Is this just what is your take on that?
I guess, I mean, it just depends really on the person. If these guys, don't come in to their place of work and shake hands and are doing what's quote unquote, good locker room etiquette or whatever you call it, that's on them. So bottom line is, if they go out in the ring and they perform to the best of their ability and they're just, the greatest thing since sliced bread, then it really doesn't matter what they do backstage. If they go somewhere where they're trying to get a job, and they want to be there, then, you have to play the game and you have to abide by the rules. Most importantly, you need to respect the sport and the business and the guys that came and paved the way for these guys. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, if you're going to the WWE, you are nothing. You are nothing to them. You're zero. I don't care. I don't care who you were, where you came from, or what you did before your first day on the job in WWE was. You are zero to that company. You are zero. So you are starting from the ground up, and that's what real professionals already know. When you respect this business like I do, and you do things for the right reasons for this business. You know, going to the WWE, I've done a ton of darks and been there a shitload of time, you know, and it's the same thing. Like, I go in there, and if I make eye contact with somebody, you know, or I see somebody that I really respect and you know, stuff, I go and shake their hand, introduce myself, and I do things the right and proper way, because you never know. I mean, someone's always watching you there, you know. It's tricky there, you know. There's eyes and ears everywhere. So, you know, if these guys are walking in locker rooms acting like, you know, oh, you know, I flip, you know, and I do a lot of flippity things, and I wear tassels, so I'm something special, that's fine. You know, you get in the ring with a guy like me, and if I feel disrespected, or I feel that you've disrespected someone that I respect, or my friends or something, then guess what? You ain't flipping too much tonight, you know, and that's how it's going to be.
Have you ever gotten to ring somebody with somebody like that you thought had that attitude, and do you ever stretch them or rough them up or anything?
Oh yeah, a ton of times. I mean, you know, I moved to the East Coast in '05. I moved to Philadelphia from Southern California, where I first started, and I had a bad temper, and you know, and it was a problem for Rocky and myself when we were teaming, because I have a short fuse. So, you know, if I come into a locker room, I'm very quiet and to myself. You know, if I know you, I'll say hi. If you come up to me, I'll say hi. I have no problem with that. You know, I'm not a very, you know, outgoing kind of giggly person unless I'm with, you know, real close friends of mine or something. But I mean, it comes down to it, and I just don't like you, then you're going to find that out. I'm pretty straightforward. So, I mean, I have no problem saying names and, you know, letting people know, look, I don't like you. You know, maybe I don't know what it is. Maybe it's your face. I don't know what it is. You know, I could just wake up and say, hey, you know, fuck it, I don't like you anymore, you know. And if I'm in the ring with them, you know, I'm there to do my job and give the fans what they came to see. But, I mean, you know, there's a lot of different ways to get to that finish. You know, and it's maybe I don't want to do your flips and catch you and, you know, and twirl you around in the air, you know, so your tassels flip around all over the place. If you don't like that, maybe I'll just punch your face and we'll go home from there. You know?
That's good times, I think. Intro, do you have a question?
Yeah, I had a question from the chat room. LeBlue guy, he wants to know, have you ever experienced racism in wrestling?
You know, not too much, but I mean, I'm assuming it's out there. I don't really know. You know, with me, like, you know, if I'm booked somewhere, or if I'm wrestling somewhere consistently, you know, I'm usually good, because you know, I don't actually see it, you know, but I mean, I assume it's still out there, unfortunately. But I just go there and do my job. You know, I've never had anything looked at, you know, from my perspective and said, oh, this is because of racism. You know, I'm not here. I'm not getting a job or something. You know, I mean, wrestling is different. You know what I mean? Like a couple of years ago, they weren't looking a lot at Hispanic wrestlers, and now it's like the market's so rich in Mexico. You know, so they're looking towards Hispanic wrestlers. So you can't really call that racism. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, it evolves, it changes. You know what I mean? It's like, you never know who's looking for what, you know. I mean, WWE, you know, has Sin Cara and has Alberto Del Rio, you know, and they're pushing them hard. So TNA's going to copy that, you know, at some point and try to get a Mexican faction in there, you know.
They got Mexican America.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's all, you know, it's all intertwined somehow, and I don't really see it, you know. I've never seen it or heard it or anything like that, so no.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm on the East Coast too, so I've seen Slick Wagner Brown wrestle quite often. Have you worked with him a lot?
That was the first time I got to wrestle him. Will be on the pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. We've been in like locker rooms together, you know, up in the New England, Boston area and stuff like that. But I've never wrestled him before. I saw him. Him and I went down to TNA together the same week for some tryout stuff. But you know, he's a nice guy. I mean, I think he fits the UWF mold well. You know, he's got the right look and attitude and carries himself very well. So, you know, I've always thought that he was a good wrestler from what I've seen of him, you know, and I mean, if anyone wants to see a really, really good back and forth match, like, you know, on the September 25th, that's what you'll get from myself and Slick Wagner.
Mm-hmm. Tazo the Greek in the chat room, he wants to know, how do you feel about wrestling journalists online?
Wrestling journalists online?
Mm-hmm. I guess like a Wrestling Observer kind of things.
Oh, what do I think of them?
Yeah.
Oh, you know, I don't know. Like a lot of the stuff gets blown out of proportion. You know, and there's always two sides to every story. You know, and I think fans read too much into what is written on the internet and go too in depth into that instead of thinking for themselves. You know what I mean? Like, if a very popular internet, you know, writer posts something, oh, this guy didn't do good tonight, so I don't think he's very good. You know what I mean? Like, I think fans read too much into that, you know, and then now this person is labeled as not good. Or on the flip side could be, wow, this guy flipped 17 times. This guy's awesome. No, this guy's a gymnast. You know, there's a difference. You know what I mean? You know, fans, and there's only a small group of them, I guess, that would be the smart mark internet fans that they base their life around what certain people say and promote, you know, and then, you know, and then there's the huge masses that like a company like WWE tends to, you know what I mean? They don't care what the internet says. You know what I mean? Like, you think Vince McMahon's worried about what this website said about the show last night? No, you know, he could care less. You know,
Right.
So you know, you got to be, you know, if you're an internet wrestling fan that you base your judgment on what someone else says, like, you're just an idiot, and then you're just a follower. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, you know, so-and-so says this guy's really good, he must be awesome. And then when he comes to your town, you know, you're going crazy for him, and you never even seen him, you know? So, I mean, it helps and it hurts, you know? It helps because it promotes, it should be there to promote and report. You know, if guys are in there saying, hey man, I went to the show last night. Okay. How was it? Don't give me a star rating on each match. You know what I mean? Like, who the hell are you to tell me that my match was only 3 stars? You know, like, were you in the back when the guy paying me said, hey man, only do this tonight because this is leading somewhere? Oh, well, this performance was, you know, 2 notches lower than it was the last time he was here. So I didn't really like it. And it was a snoozer, you know, like, come on, man, really? You know, those are just, I don't know, you know, those piss me off because they don't know what's going on. They saw something and then all of a sudden they don't like it, so they're going to crap on it, you know? And then, you know, enough people crap on it and they're, yeah, I saw that too. And yeah, now here comes follow the leader. You know what I mean? Everyone wants to be the cool internet wrestling reporter guy. You know, yeah, I gave that 2.5 stars too. Yeah, you're right. You know, like, hey, you know what? Go suck your own dick. Like, you're a fool, you know, because who are you to say that what happened wasn't supposed to happen perfectly? You know what I mean? For something that's going to grow into something bigger and later. You know, same thing when Christian lost the belt. You know, how many of these nerds got on their Twitter and were crying and bitching and complaining and everything else? Like, oh, that was stupid to take the belt off him. Like shut up. You know what I mean? Like you guys have no idea. Like, go to the show, enjoy the show, watch the show, be a fan. If you want to write a report about it and you're a reporter or whatever, hey, say, you know what, this match was this and it was that and it was that. No need for a star rating. You know what I mean? Like, unless you're Dean Malenko or Shawn Michaels or something, your star ratings don't mean shit. You know, because you don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, just speaking of Dean Malenko and Shawn Michaels, who were some of the guys that really, you know, made you want to be a wrestler?
Well, I mean, growing up, initially it's, of course, it was Hulk Hogan, like, oh, wow, Hulk Hogan. But as I got older, I started doing amateur wrestling in high school and stuff, and I started noticing guys like Scott Steiner and Rick Steiner, and these guys are going out there doing, like, wrestling things that I was doing, so I started really marking out for them. And then I started seeing a lot of stuff done, like in Japan, started picking up tapes and DVDs from Japan and stuff, and I started seeing the difference in the styles of those wrestlers. It was like I saw Scott Steiner wrestle Ric Flair, like on a Saturday Night Main Event one time, and I thought, oh, this match, it wasn't very good. There wasn't intensity, and then I would see Scott Steiner against Jushin Liger or something, in a tag match, and I'm like, wow, these guys are trying to really throw each other, and they're getting down on the mat, and they're, it's really intense, like the intensity. So, I mean, as I got older, I doing amateur wrestling because I wanted to be a pro wrestler. I really got into, the Steiner Brothers. Then I, of course, stumbled upon, Gordy and Williams and Stan Hansen and, Dynamite Kid and, and Chris Benoit and all these guys in Japan. And I'm like, wow, like, the style was so unique, different. It was intense. It's what I'm used to doing. So, eventually I moved more towards the more aggressive wrestlers,
Mm-hmm. Now, you were earlier talking about the flippy guys, and I like this guy, but you're going to be wrestling him for Victory Pro Wrestling in Long Island, New York, I guess next month. That's Amazing Red. Now, what are your thoughts on him, and would you consider him a flippy wrestler?
No, I don't consider him a flippy wrestler, and here's the reason why. Because Red also can wrestle a different styles. He doesn't rely on the flippy. There's guys when you go in the back and you have to wrestle them, and if you can't base them for something or you don't want to take something, they act like the match can go no further. You know what I mean? Like, there's these guys that in the business we call, quote unquote, I got to get my shit in, and it's like Red is not one of those guys,
Mm-hmm.
He just, and Red's quote unquote flippy stuff or whatever stuff he does makes sense. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference between going out there and saying, yeah, I'm going to do this. And then there's guys like Red who are like, okay, I'm going to do this, but there's a reason why I'm doing it. You know what I mean? So that's the big difference. Red does flip and he dives and he corkscrews and he ranas and, he spin kicks and he is what his gimmick is. He is amazing. Like, I've wrestled him before, you know what I mean? And it's amazing when I'm in there with him, watching him do his stuff. I'm like a fan in there, I'm like, wow, this guy's getting down, but everything that he does is for a purpose. And that's what sells. That's what sells. That's money. You know what I mean? Then you got other guys who walk around with their noses in the air and don't want to shake people's hands, but all they do is wear tassels and flip for no reason. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, here's my flip thing. And it's like, for what? Oh, because that's what I do here. I flip. It's like, all right, well, see you later, done. And then, okay, that's why you'll go no further. You know what I mean? In wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
There's a place for people like that. Don't get me wrong. The reality of it, though, is how many flips and twisty things happen in WrestleMania 25 with Taker and Shawn Michaels? Not too many,
Mm-hmm.
So, you tell me what's going to draw 80,000 into a building, flippity faggots or guys that are going to go out there and tell a story with their actions in the ring.
Mm-hmm. That's a good answer. Now, you're also going to be wrestling for Combat Zone Wrestling this Saturday. What's it like wrestling for Combat Zone Wrestling? It was, some people really like that, and some people are not a fan of CCW.
It's a fun place. I mean, it much like urban wrestling, it has a little bit of something for everybody. Like urban wrestling, it's got a reputation for being, quote unquote, thugged out, more gangster rap type, atmosphere and stuff. And then CZW has, hey, it's all barbed wire, it's all, light tubes, and it's like, it's really not, you know what I mean? They're just got a reputation for having those kind of crazy matches, but I mean, the fans are typical Philadelphia fans, they're hard to please, they'll let you know what they don't like, what they do like, I mean, that helps you, believe it or not, as a wrestler, that's what you want, if there's a building, of 300 people that are going to be on your every step, that's what you want. Because when you win them over, or you get the reaction that you want from them, then you're doing your job right, So they got a good mixture of good young talent. They got a good mixture of experienced veterans that wrestle there. They got a mixture of good wrestlers. Like, I'm a good wrestler, and then they got, Masato, who's like, he's like the man when it comes to the deathmatch stuff. You know what I mean? And it all gels well. They know how to put that type of show on,
Mm-hmm. I just want you to know something quick here in the chat room. Everyone's enjoying the interview, and this has come from the chat room that the line of the night on the show so far is flippity faggots.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad they enjoy that, and I'm sure the flippity faggots know exactly who they are, and that's on them.
Just some young bucks, I guess, out there might know what's going on. Never. But again, it's UrbanWrestlingFederation.com. You're part of the tournament to crown. Is it to crown the champion?
Yeah, it's to crown the first champion. It'll be the third pay-per-view that happens. I believe it's in November. That one will air.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know when we talked about the promotion before it actually started, and his idea was that there really wouldn't be not necessarily that there wouldn't be faces and heels. He let the fans dictate it and depend on where they went, who who the crowd liked, who they did. Do you think that'll work, or do you think you need faces and heels, or what are your opinions on that?
I like it that way. I think it fits. I think it fits for UWF's style. You know what I mean? Like the fans appreciate your effort. If you go out there and you work hard, you wrestle hard, and which everybody did. On the show. I mean, if anyone saw the first pay-per-view, everybody brought it. You know what I mean? And you get to pick and choose what crew or what clique you like. You know what I mean? And run with it. Maybe it's because you like Homicide, so you like his group, or maybe it's because you like 40 Glock's music. You know what I mean? And you pick his crew. Maybe there's a really hot chick in that group, so you're going to keep your eye on that one. It's up to you. Which group you like. And I think it's more. There's no faces and heels in the UFC. You know what I mean? And you just choose who you like, and you choose for your own reasons. No one's telling you, hey, I'm a good guy, gosh darn it, cheer for me when I raise my hands in the air. Like, we're all adults, you know what I mean? Like, you pick and choose who you like. You like Ricky Reyes because he's a badass wrestler. Like, okay, then you like Slick Wagner Brown because, he's, like.
Sorry about that. If you guys call in, just be quiet till I call on you. Go on, Ricky, sorry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Ricky. I mean, you get to pick and choose who you like. So, I mean, it gives the fans freedom to choose and cheer, and, makes it better for the crowd reaction. You know what I mean? So it's good.
Yeah, exactly. But someone put up a video up on, I have to ask about this. Maybe you don't want to talk, but I don't know. But there's a video with you and CM Punk and Samoa Joe in the streets of Chicago. Have you seen it? And are you happy, or are you not happy that this is out on YouTube?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't bother me. That was a long time ago. And to be honest with you, I've never watched the whole thing, and I only remember very small parts of that night. I can tell you, when I got home Sunday night, I had voicemails from Samoa Joe and Rocky and Punk and everyone, telling me how awesome I was over the weekend, apparently. But That was a result of our first weekend in Ring of Honor, I think. I want to say we did St. Paul, Minnesota, and Chicago, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And Punk took us out that night afterwards, and yeah, I guess they thought it was funny to keep pumping me full of drinks and get on YouTube and stir me up, because rumor has it I've been that way before, and it was a couple of times after, but I don't drink anymore. So
There you go. I'd give that push-up performance 3 stars.
3?
3.
Right.
I want to ask you something, because we're going to give out some T-shirts here on the show, thanks to MassRepublic.com. And first one we got up this week, we're giving out a LA Park shirt. And I also want to know, what are your thoughts on Lucha? And have you ever worked with LA Park or La Parka?
Yes. I wrestled for CMLL for 4 months. I lived in Mexico City. New Japan sent me there on a learning excursion. And I worked Arena Mexico every Friday night. I was actually brought up with Lucha Libre through Jesse Hernandez in Southern California at the School of Hard Knocks. He originally got myself booked on like a lot of lucha events in Southern California, you know, like on Fridays and Sundays, kind of booked me around, you know, our EWF shows we had in Southern California. And so I actually was brought up with Lucha Libre style wrestling. And then I went to Mexico City and trained with Negro Casas and Shocker at the arena. I trained there with them Monday through Friday. So I know classic lucha. I'm actually really good at it. I enjoy it. It's a different style of wrestling. And as far as working La Parka, yeah, I've worked the original La Parka in Atlanta one time. And funny story was, he was upset that me and Rocky were beating him and Nicho, which is the original Psychosis. Mm-hmm. He was pissed off, so he told the promoter that he didn't want to do the job. So we ended up doing like a DQ finish, and then in the middle of the match, he just took some old lady's crutch and started hitting myself and Rocky with it, like kind of dangerous, like trying to hit us in the head with it. Yeah. So we shot on him, took him down, and I remember just like mounting him and just like forearming him like in his nose and eyes and face, and I was just trying to like blacken his face up or his eyes up, and so I let him up. We continued the match and finished it, and we got to the back, and like all the guys were like, you know, telling us not to do anything, and you know, he stayed away from us for the next day. But we were actually on a 3-day tour going through North Carolina and South Carolina, I think. And the next day, he went and talked to the promoter and got all the matches changed, because we were supposed to be on the same matches all the way through the loop. So that all got changed the next day, and I haven't talked to him since. He's a piece of shit. So
you will not be entered to win the T-shirt.
No. And if I do, I'd shit in it and send it to him.
Well, maybe we can hook him up with a T-shirt then.
Yeah. It's probably not the best shirt to send me to give out on this particular week. Mass Republic. Thank you.
Yeah, he's a real asshole, you know what I mean? Cause
yeah.
Because the whole idea, you know, was me and Rocky. We were hot. You know, we had just gotten back from CMLL where we won Tag Team of the Year. Mm-hmm. You know, and we were getting ready to wrestle our second Tokyo Dome show at Ultimate Crush. So this was in between those, you know, and then Ring of Honor was just hired us, you know, so we were like all over the place. You know what I mean? So like for him to come to the States and say, "Oh, I'm not losing to these guys," like, you're only big in Mexico. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's not like we were saying, "Hey, I'm going to pick you up with one arm," you know what I mean? And like tombstone you on your head and pin you with my finger. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But and it wasn't even our call. You know what I mean? But he's trying to take it out on us, like, you know, if, you know, not knowing that we're like legitimate MMA, you know, fighters. You know what I mean? Like, I trained 3 years mixed martial arts. You know what I mean? Like, mm-hmm. I'm not the guy that you want to piss off. You know what I mean? So he learned that night. But then after that, we didn't talk. I mean, I haven't talked to him ever since. I've seen him a few times too. So
yeah. do you come into that type of attitude a lot in wrestling with like maybe some of the bigger name guys, or is it not too often?
You know what? It's not too often, you know, and people think that because hey, big name guys, they have an attitude. You know what? The real big name guys, the guys that are stars, they don't need an attitude because they already know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no need for them to walk around with an ego. You know, it's the guys that want it and they know that they're not good enough to be a top guy. They're usually the guys walking around upset, you know, or scared for their spot or whatever the case may be. You know, the top guys, they don't act like that, you know, because they appreciate what they have and where they came from. And, you know, I remember the first time I did WWE the very first time, was at the Staples Center. And, this was when I was still with New Japan, and, Tiger Hattori and Simon Inoki, they took me to the Staples Center from the dojo in LA. And, you know, I remember like they left and they needed to go talk with, I think they met with like Benoit or something. So I was just kind of roaming around. I was there as an extra, but I didn't really want to do anything, you know, and I was just kind of like lost in the building. And I remember like Taker was like behind me and like tapped me on the shoulder, and I turned around. He's like, "Hey, nice to meet you." And I was like, "Holy shit. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't see you there, sir." You know? And he's like, "Oh, it's cool. See you later." And just kind of like kept on moseying by, you know what I mean? And I was like, and that'll never like, I'll never forget that, you know what I mean? And it's like, you know, I seen Austin walk up to extras, you know, and like, "Hey, Steve, nice to meet you." And I'm like, wow, really? Like, we don't fucking know that you're Stone Cold Steve Austin? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you don't need, you know what I mean, to say anything, you know? And that always stuck with me, you know? And then you see guys, you know, like, just other guys like on the bottom level, you know, they're walking around like paranoid, you know, like, "Oh, I don't want to, you know, fuck this guy, you know, he's going to take my spot," you know, and I don't know. I mean, that's not me, you know, I'm not that way. I'm a pretty quiet person, I guess, in the locker room, but it's usually because I'm pretty focused on what I want to do, you know what I mean? Like, I go out there to have a good match every night, you know, and I take my job seriously. Sometimes people say too serious, but I mean, if that's the case, then that's fine, whatever. But, you know, I'm not difficult to approach either, you know, and I'm not paranoid over my spot because I'm confident in my ability, you know. I mean, if you're good enough to take my spot, then fuck, you're good enough to be on the upper part of the card. Then that's where you need to be, you know. It's my fault. It's my fault that I'm not there. You know what I mean? It's not your fault, you know.
Yeah. No.
I don't understand it. You know what I mean? If guys like Stone Cold Steve Austin can introduce themselves to nobodies, you know, why can't flippity faggots walk around and say, "Hi, I'm faggoty 1, faggoty 2, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So you mean, you know, it's funny because that's the honest to God truth. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if I ever said this on the show, but honestly, just from doing this, we've been doing the show for 6 years, and the vast majority of like what I would consider, you know, big name people we've had on the show are always like super easy to deal with, and we've only had a handful of problems with anybody, and it's usually guys that, you know, aren't real, or were sort of stars and aren't anymore for whatever reason, or guys that really haven't made it. And I always think that's really strange, but you pretty much said what I was thinking. We got let me see here. We got let's try to redeem the caller segment. We've got El Santo on the line.
¿Qué pasó, chico? Yo soy cubano como tú. What's happening, man?
What's up, man?
What's up? Now I want to ask you a question about you being a fellow Cuban. What do you think about the stereotypical stuff they do in WWE, like that fake Cuban that did over there, Alejandro Estrada? What do you think about stuff like that, man, when you see that on TV?
You know, that's just them. You know, they want to make it as stereotypical as possible so they get their point across. Doesn't bother me. I'm not going to lose sleep over Estrada.
Well, Well, dude, I want to say, this is a great interview, bro. I'm glad you're representing, out there in the Urban Federation, bro. And one more thing. Can I ask one more question? I mean, what other guy out there you never had a chance to wrestle, like maybe in Mexico and all that you like to look forward to get in the ring with somebody,
Anybody?
Yeah, anybody out there that you think you could have a great match in the ring with, that's gonna make the crowd hype up.
I would say I'd like to wrestle Rey Mysterio.
Ah,
that's a good choice.
That's a good choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I like Eddie Guerrero's style of wrestling, and I love their matches. They've never had a bad one. And if there's anything that gets me pumped up to go out there and perform well, it's an Eddie Guerrero-Rey Mysterio match. So,
right.
I'd like to get in there and see if I could push him as hard as Eddie used to push him. That would be my test.
Well, I know he's kind of injured right now, man. Hopefully we can push out some more when he gets back.
Yeah, they need him.
Yeah, they do. They're gonna be missing him. Well, all right, man. Well, thank you so much, bro. You have a great career, all right? Gracias, Cubano.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for calling in, El Santo. Real quick here, Andy sent me an email. He wants to know what is Julius Smokes up to these days?
Julius Smokes will be managing me September 30th in Queens, New York for ICW. Smokes is one of the commentators and color guys for the Urban Wrestling Federation. He's an awesome dude, and Smokes is being Smokes, man. He's going to get his.
Cool. Well, thank you for coming on tonight, and let everyone know you got to check out UrbanWrestlingFederation.com. They got a big pay-per-view coming up September 25th. Hood Justice. Get to see our man here, Ricky Reyes, on there. He's taking on Slick Wagner Brown. And you got Homicide. You got all kinds of people. It's going to be good stuff. And anything you just want to let everybody know?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook. I don't tweet, so I'm on Facebook, as you guys know. Just search Ricky Reyes. Urban Wrestling Federation, pay-per-view is going to be really, really good. Better than the first one. So if anyone got the first one or heard anything on the first one, it's going to be even better. The quality of matches on the second one, even better than the first one. Not that the first one was bad, but myself, Black G's is in a multi-man, I think a 5-way or something. It's going to be a lot of good wrestling matches to come, and hopefully it keeps going well. I mean, we're getting some good buzz, good feedback, and UWF's a different look, but it's still pro wrestling. You know what I mean? We just put a little twist on it. We put some extra pieces in the puzzle, and it's a lot of fun. Like the events that we were at, the way they treat the wrestlers, the staff that works there, Kevin Kleinrock, Steve O'Neill, these guys, John Thorne, these guys bust their ass to get this show off the ground and running. And, it was a rough taping because everyone was new, but they put the wrestlers up in an awesome hotel. They took care of us every which way they could. Nothing bad. You know what I mean? Like everyone was on the same page. It was a good feel in the back and stuff. All the, a lot of the guys, some of the guys, I guess, here and there, are complaining about certain things, but, I think that's all crap. I think it's just guys, mid-card, lower-level guys that just want to be heard, so they'll find anything to bitch and cry about, and, I've wrestled all over the world, Japan, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Canada, Europe, WWE, TNA, ROH, you know what I mean? I've seen good, bad, horrible, awesome, and the UWF, they're just trying, you know what I mean? They're trying to make a run, they're putting all they got into this, and they're really pushing it hard, and that night, everyone worked their ass off, so every match is good, Steve O'Neill, Kevin Kleinrock, these guys work round the clock on this project. You know what I mean? Like, these guys are never not working on this, you know, and it's just, you know, we're going to be doing another taping soon, you know, and that one's going to run even smoother. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it really is. It's a unique thing. It's a unique look. And, you know, I mean, it's new. It's different. You know, it's what fans want to see now. You know, like, we're not telling you who to cheer and who not to cheer, you know, neither is the UFC. So, I mean, if you like the UFC or you like, you know, Floyd Mayweather or Manny Pacquiao or something, like, you'd be a UWF fan, you know, because it's grown people's sport. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's pro wrestling, but it's pro wrestling for adults. You know what I mean? It's entertainment. And all different aspects, from the music to the girls, you know, to the athletes in the ring, you know, to the performance that everybody puts on all night long, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, thanks, man. I'm really looking forward to it. And like you said, it's always nice to have more wrestling out there, especially if it's, you know, something different and it's the same stuff you see everywhere else. So hopefully it's a big success.
Yeah, cool. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Can we skip here for a second?
Yeah.
Hey, this is Sarah Del Rey, the Queen of Wrestling, and you're listening to InYourHeadOnline.com. Dwayne's an idiot.